Hi, this is Andrew with Front Range CNC. Today we're going to do a short little video about how you can hold small parts better. You might think the easiest solution is just to use a larger vacuum pump, but in a lot of cases that really is not the problem. It's the seal that is being broken on the table. This can be caused from cutting too deep into your spoil board on your previous sheet, and it leaves those gashes that they almost look like little channels towards the outside edges, and it can make holding, especially I would say the medium to small parts, pretty difficult. It also depends on how Mozaik or Cabinet Vision or KCD or whatever software you're using is putting out the toolpath, what order it's going in. So there are some things that are harder to just easily fix with vacuum. So this is really simple. This is just one thing you can try if you are running into this a lot. It'll add a small amount of time to your overall cutting, but it's a pretty small amount if you're losing parts and having to recut. So we just have got a standard random room here. If we look at this from the 3D, there's nothing special about it, just some kind of random garage style stuff. So we'll go to cut list and let's pick something that has a lot of stretchers and toes, which this does. And these are the small parts I'm talking about, 4-inch wide. And we'll do optimize and overwrite with new parts. If you're not used to Mozaik or you haven't used it often, it's a really simple way to get into cabinetry on a CNC. We don't need to mess with our width or our length, although normally these would be 49 by 97. It's just going to be obviously whatever size your material is when you get it. We've got a lot of these little parts here, so we'll go to optimize and let's just do this and let's just see what they look like so you can get a better idea. So the parts that are likely the biggest problem are these, these 3 on the edge, these 5 in a row, and then this one on the edge here. You've got the large pieces kind of anchoring your vacuum, so to say, and then you've got these on the outsides, and this is kind of the spot that you have a lot of these through cuts made anyways, and so these can be kind of further difficult to hold. So this is a great example. Where we actually want to start is libraries. So if we go up to libraries and then CNC tooling, ATC tool sets. I've made this tool set before, but I'm going to delete it so I can just show you how we would make this from the beginning. So we can do add tool set here on the right, and let's just call it small parts. You can use this for big parts as well. It's all the same, but we'll just call it that so we can recognize it. Let's add a 5mm drill for shelf pins. The other 2 tools we'll need is a 3/8 down shear or down flute and a 1/4 inch compression. And the important thing is the boxes we have checked for each of these tools to do. You might think you double check that box, but that actually doesn't do anything. It just pulls up the tool. So in Mozaik, where you're going to check the duties of what the tools can do is actually under tool properties. If you double click one of these, it will bring up tool properties. So we want the 5mm drill to drill, we want the 3/8 down shear to dado and roughing, and then we want the 1/4 inch compression to do cutout. If we go to the speed for the 3/8 down shear, we can be relatively quick, 450 by 500. And then if we go to our 1/4 inch compression, we can be fairly fast, 400 to 500. You don't have to use these exact speeds. You can go faster, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that do go quicker. This is really just a total starting point example of a strategy you can use to try to hold small parts better. So you can copy those if you want and then tweak from there. So now that we've got a tool set for small parts, we'll press OK. If we come to our Optimize tab here, we can then select our small part toolpath. But the other important thing is we need to click on toolpath properties. If toolpath properties is not showing in your Mozaik and everything else on this screen looks the same, you likely just need to update your Mozaik. That can be done through the Mozaik forums, and you can Google that, and there's some different guides you can follow. It's pretty simple. So you'll want this button, toolpath properties. The strategy that we want to pick is stay down. This will influence how this toolpath is made. So stay down is what we want to pick. For cut direction, we can do climb and climb, it's fine. You might play around with switching climb to conventional or conventional to climb if you've got something you're going to finish on the edges, but in this case, we just want to get our shapes cut. And then for small parts, we're going to do a full sheet skin. The important thing is that we have stay down selected under cutout strategy and full sheet skin selected under small parts. This is something I would play around with because you can use this return skin and it will only do small parts that you've noted. And I'll point that out when we get to the sheet. For now, let's just make it full sheet skin. I'd rather make it really kind of easy for you and then you can work backwards. And then small part cutout is smallest part. And we'll do okay. Now with our tool set selected, we can optimize and it'll look exactly the same. The pattern has not changed. And let's pick this one again. So now if we press generate G code, we're doing small parts. Our post processor, this particular machine we're using out here does not have a drill block, so that's fine. And we'll do calculate. And so now there's 3 toolpaths. The first is the dado, but notice the second one is using that 3/8 down shear. Normally, we would not use a down shear to cut out anything. But remember, this is actually not cutting out anything fully. This is actually going down and leaving that skin that we've told it. And the reason why we can use a down shear, and let's just pretend it's melamine to make it easy, is that down shear is going to keep a clean edge on top. Because remember, we're not cutting all the way through. You can see what that looks like in our little simulate button here, but there's our little red tab. And it's basically just going between all the parts. We're not losing any vacuum because we're not actually cutting all the way. And remember, we've sped this up quite a bit in our inches per minute, so we're not losing a tremendous amount of time. And then finally, this one here, this cutout. So what happens is we do the dado, we then leave our onion skin, and then we tool change to a 1/4 inch. Because when the 1/4 inch is cutting out the final onion skin, there's much less friction on the actual part itself, and there's less vacuum loss because the cavity that we're cutting is smaller. It may not sound like much. I mean, it's the difference between a 1/4 and a 3/8, but that 1/8 inch will make a difference. So now what's happening is the 1/4 inch is going in the order of the smallest parts first, and we can simulate that. And it's just going to basically do a final stay down style cut. At this point, it's only doing what's remaining of the onion skin. So this is only cutting 60 thousandths deep. So there's a very small amount of friction. From there, we can just do our G code output and save it to the machine. So this would be, again, a really simple way that you can play around with looking to improve your hold down of small parts in Mozaik specifically. You can use this for large parts as well. And these are the big ones that I think you could get away with changing this to that return skin. And the way you'd find that, again, is just under Optimize, Toolpath, and if we change small parts to return skin, and now let's go back through and see. We'll pick that same sheet just so that you can see the difference. So now it's doing just the dado, and now it's just doing our 1/4 inch. So you'd want to play around with what size it thinks are the small parts, and that's how you'd be able to dial it in. But again, Optimize, Toolpath, make it simple in the beginning, just do a full sheet skin, and that's what will give you that setup.